to the Leadership Heart Podcast with Sandra J. Horton, the Growth Catalyst. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Leadership Heart Podcast, the show where bold innovation meets conscious leadership. I am your host, Sandra J. Horton, and I believe that leadership is not about titles. It's about impact, intention, and courage to serve others. On this podcast, we will go beyond strategy and surface level success to have real and honest conversations with changemakers in health and tech, innovation, social areas, and beyond. You are going to hear from visionary leaders who are not only building organizations, but helping others to build organizations and putting people first. Leaders who understand that the people matter first. Humanity matters. So if you are ready to lead with more purpose and clarity and heart, you are in the right place. So let's dive in. I'm going to bring up our esteemed, wonderful guest. Here we go. Our beautiful coach, Ibrahim Al-Obaidy, all the way from beautiful Saudi Arabia. Welcome, Coach. Thank you, Coach Ibrahim. I'm going to introduce you just for a few moments, and welcome to those who are listening to us live in the chat. Please put where you're coming in from, your name, and I'm going to make sure that I'm following on the comments if I can. Coach Ibrahim is not only, he's such a beautiful, amazing background. He's an ICF and PCC EQI 2.0 and EQ 360, kindred souls here. He's I'm going to say this properly, Rana Trust Building PQ certified practitioner. And his vision, I have to read this because I really, truly love this vision, is to envision a world where people are devoted to supporting one another. They're living peacefully and prosperous lives and continually developing themselves to become the best versions of themselves. And truly, his mission is around self-discipline, guided by faith and principles. But the interesting piece about Coach Ibrahim, which I love, is that he's also a retiree who has over 36 years of service with a BSc in mechanical engineering. He's a beautiful, logical mind, but a heart-centered approach from the University of Arizona in the USA. Ibrahim is a certified coach, and he understands how to help people to change. So drawing on his expertise in EQ and positive intelligence, very powerful words here, trust building, he helps leaders and organizations to develop, to get clear, to envision and achieve the best versions of themselves. There's so much more I could say, but together we grow. What a beautiful way to start us off. Thank you for joining me from the global Canada all the way to your beautiful country. Thank you for coming to the Leadership Heart Podcast.
Thank you.
And on the Leadership Heart Podcast, we really focus at looking at self and looking through change. So I'm going to dive in with Ibrahim about the lens from an HR perspective, about self-discovery. So in your journey, Ibrahim, let's just jump right in from being an engineer to a certified coach. Those are two different ways of being and ways of interacting with the world and bringing your gifts to the world. Can you help us understand what self-discovery moments really transformed how you lead and help others lead?
It is a big question, and I love that question, really. When I thought about that, I really thought about two things, the engineering mindset and the coaching mindset. The engineering mindset is trained us to be technical, analyzing, problem solving. On the other hand, the coaching invite us to focus on human side, which is emotions, values, and aspiration, and also their potential. It's not about fixing people. It's more about helping people to become the best version of themselves. This is it's a huge paradigm shift for me when I worked or when I transferred from engineering to the coaching. It doesn't only have that mindset about how do I lead people. It is how do I understand myself, really, and how do I understand people so that I can get into their heart.
I think that's really, really powerful, because what I just heard there is fundamental, is that you have to know yourself to then be able to lead things. So can we dive into that? How did you go from engineering to coaching? That's a huge change. Like, what happened? Like, how did you feel it?
I love that coaching question, actually. It's a provoking question. Love it. What's really meant is that when we now dive in, we will not only know our emotions, our thoughts, we'll have self-awareness. How do we see ourselves? How do we see them, our feeling toward ourselves, our feelings toward our strength? How do we change our thoughts from seeing things from the dark side to seeing things from the bright side? And we consider, I'm just emphasizing it, we do consider looking at challenges and problems as an opportunities to grow. Once we go and do this with ourselves, that will radiate into our clients when we coach clients.
It's the power of the emotions, the power of feeling, isn't it? Because people feel you. If you walk into a room, people can experience you, whether it's in a positive energy. Look at yourself. How are you sitting or how are you standing? How are you showing up in this world? Because people feel you. And this kind of lends into the whole self-discovery. If we can even take a focused intention just to stop right now and look at ourselves and then journal. What am I feeling? What am I experiencing? What am I seeing? How can how can we as individuals, how HR leaders foster more emotional self-awareness, not only in themselves, like how they recruit, how they bring people in, but how do they build more self-awareness in their teams?
That is really an amazing question, really. To answer this question, I'd like to start with a story. Right after the COVID-19, I was coaching one young leader. The leader find it hard to see what he wants, what leader he wants to be. I asked him, who is your role model? Mm-hmm. And he paused and said, it's my senior VP. I said, wow, what makes him your role model? He said, well, 6 months after COVID started, the company decided to lay off at least 30% of the workforce. At that time, he was a manager, direct manager, refused and said, what do you want? We want you to have that continuous profit. He said, I will give it to you. He said, he came back to us, talked to us about what happened. We are in it together. So I want you to help me so that I don't lay anybody from you. Department gets the same, if not more than profit that they got. The story of how we show up as leaders. I'll always say we don't normally work for a company. We work for the boss that he's on the chair. If he knows how to get into our hearts, he will succeed.
Wow, that's such a powerful, analogy. Anyone can resonate with that moment of having that great leader who chose a different way to engage everyone, to say transparently, I'm in this situation. I'm either going to lay off everyone or we're going to have to find a new way to make it work. And I think that's the key right now, particularly there's so much change that's happening. And we know as we become more conscious, as we're learning about ourselves, what is that self-awareness?
I think self-awareness is to know about your emotions, your motives, your thoughts, and the triggers of those thoughts and emotions. And how do these thoughts and emotions affecting you? Triggers of the emotion, thoughts and emotions. Those thoughts and emotions, how do they affect you and affect the environment around you?
And that's really important. The reason I wanted to kind of just stop there and get your expert opinion. And it's interesting because I don't know if you've had that experience, but when we're working with individuals or teams and we're doing, emotional intelligence, many people don't understand what self-awareness actually is. They say, oh, I think I have a construct. I think I know what it is. But in the inner, deeper part of ourselves, how we're able to stop and respond, not react, I think is critical, especially in this day and age with this rapid change, because you've worked in diverse areas and industries. I would say some of the stories you could probably tell from the oil and gas to medicine would be completely different, right? But that ability to have emotional intelligence, that self-awareness is only one key of it, is really important. So can you share with us, what role do you feel that emotional intelligence overall plays in preparing leaders for these cultural and technology transformations that are happening right now?
First of all, when we come to role does emotional intelligence play, we need to think about these 4 domains of emotional intelligence. The first domain is, as you know, is self-awareness. And that will help the leader, as we said, help the leaders to know himself, not from the surface level, but help what are the emotions that he has that are either pushing him forward and also pushing others forward. And he wants to see also, he knows his strengths as well as his areas for development. So this is very important. The other domain is self-regulation. This will help the leader to pause and just think about what is he going to say or do, and how will that affect what he is going to say or do on him or in others. So he will restrain, he will hold himself and examine the whole situation before he acts. And the third domain is the social awareness. He will know the people around him. How do they feel and what they come from? What are their motives? And also what those motives might trigger them to. And as I was talking, the positive intelligence, which I really, one of the things that I love about positive intelligence is that we help us to pause for just 10 seconds, just before we say anything. Just take that deep breath, which will bring you down and examine the thing. The fourth domain is relationship. The relationship that will bring all of this together. The arena, Dennis and Michelle Rena said about trust. All the business is conducted through relationships. Yes. And the trust is the bridge between good relationships. The builds the trust between business needs for outcome and human needs for connection.
Powerful that people understand and go back and listen to this. When we post this, that was a key point, Ibrahim, is about that importance. And it's that pattern interrupt, the ability to stop and observe before a respond versus reacting. So I want to welcome and thank everyone who's here today. Thank you for joining. Thanks to Mike coming in from Nairobi in Kenya. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much for bringing the youth there as well. Because these are important things that we're talking about, emotional intelligence. And Coach Ibrahim has just gone through some of the areas that are critical to emotional intelligence, and especially in the age of AI. EQ is the driver. That's the differentiator. With all the work that you've been doing, what are some of the patterns that you've observed that indicate whether a leader is truly ready for change?
I would definitely say that if a leader is ready to change, is the leader that really applies the emotional intelligence, demonstrates not only to learn it, but also to discipline himself, to practice these 4 domains. Because as we said, if that leader knows himself very well and knows his strength and areas for development, and knows also how to navigate between all of these and utilize this awareness in addition to his awareness with other people, this is where he really is ready to change. And this is one of skills for emotional intelligence in the EQI 2.0 is the adaptation, to adapt the environment, to adapt with the people who are around you, where people can not only grow, but also help people to grow.
Ibrahim, one of the things that kind of comes up to me is when I'm reflecting on what you're saying, some of the derailers, and a lot of people aren't aware of what those derailers are in emotional intelligence, your impulse control. So what I'm hearing you say is we need to stop and then take a breath, ground ourselves, and then choose to take in the right information and respond. Because impulse control how you problem solve, how you look at the independence away from your emotions driving you to do something. I don't know if you've had that experience where all of a sudden you're like doing something, you're like, hey, wait a second, what happened to me? The amygdala hijack. These are critical pieces that what's happening for you in this moment. So what else can people, as a leader, if I have some aspiring people that are coming up in my organization or I'm working with people, what can I do to help them become more emotionally intelligent?
I would say that they need to know where they are in relation with emotional intelligence. See, when my clients, some clients come to me and I go deep with them and I see that they don't know where are they, what they are suffering from. Many clients, they come for something and they don't know. As we talk, they will discover that this is not the thing that they are coming to. What I say that this assessment, I consider this assessment and I talk to my clients about them as when you go to a doctor and the doctor will will examine you and he might not see something. So he will take you to the lab test to take tests and he might not get the accurate results for that. They will go take you to just a normal X-ray and that also will not reveal that much. So what he will do, he will take you to MRI where you are going to discover what happens, what is the problem that you are facing. And he also will discover that. And he will base his treatment based on a real. So I would say that if companies wants to elevate, let's say, their human and their emotional intelligence and make their leaders as emotionally intelligent leaders, first they should invest in training them and also giving them, especially those people who are really very important for the companies. They should take that opportunity to give them the emotional intelligence assessment, which is AQI 2.0.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's interesting when we look at ourselves and I ground the Leadership Heart podcast in my proven evidence base of how we change. So the first one is self-discovery. Then we go through, we start to really understand ourselves, our thinking, our feelings. We become more present. We get it. We start to really, okay, this is who I am, where I'm going, where do I want to go and how do I want to stay there? But yet change hits us. Things are coming at us around the globe. There's so much unhappiness and sadness and things that are coming at us. This is why it's so critical, the ability to respond, not react to whatever is happening to us is so critical in these moments.
Yes.
In your experience, how do we get through this change right now? Is there a better positive intelligence or a mindset or a way of being that we really should be focusing on to be more resilient through all of this change? Like, what are your thoughts, Coach Ibrahim? Because I know you have different types of industries that you coach in. Like, what have you found? What is the best mindset to work through this change?
The growth mindset and the fixed mindset. Why is that? Because when we are born, we will just be affected by all the environment around us and also with our inheritance. So we need to know ourselves and we need to know what kind of mindset do we have. The growth mindset will look at things as, yes, there are challenges, but I can't go over them. So he will not surrender. Whereas the fixed mindset, he will say, this is my capacity. I can't go beyond my capacity. You see this mindset that when I see that this is my limit and I cannot go beyond this my limit, I will not even try. And this is the dangerous thing about the fixed mindset. In addition to that, we look at the other thing is that how do we see ourselves? We need to go that paradigm shift because some people, I talked to people around me, and what they say that this is who am I? I just get, who said that you are, this is who are you? This is your thinking that says who are you? This is your mindset that says who are you? You have a strength beyond what you are thinking of. And when I take them through this visualization and let them see themselves, I start with, when I see them struggling, to let them for 2 minutes exercise, where I ask them to close their eyes, take deep breath, do some, what we call in the positive intelligence, big reps. And then we ground them and I told them, just go, put a picture for the best version of you. I let them stay there and put the exact picture, the best picture that they see themselves at. And I can see, this is not even who are you. This is less than who you are. You can, as we work together, this image, this visualization, this image that you build to yourself will get brighter.
And even as you're explaining it, you're getting brighter, because this is the essence of the amazing work that, Coach Ibrahim does. You open people up. You're opening them up to possibility, because that's the key here. Open to possibility, not fixed. I'm not my old story. I'm not what my family tells me I am. There's infinite possibility in this moment. So as we shift, as we start to look at ourselves, we're grounding ourselves, we're understanding, I need to become more self-aware. What does that mean? Looking at how I go through the change, responding, not reacting, having an openness to new ideas, thoughts, becoming it, and then doing it, and then to sustain the change, to actually be able to make that long-term change stick, to build that trust so that people will come with you through change. Because as a change practitioner, I see this all the time. People get disengaged. They're like, I can't do it. I'm checking out. How can people in the organizations you've been working with, how have you been able to help them bring emotional intelligence to help create long-term trust within teams that really help sustain any kind of change?
I think because you see my face getting slim a little bit because I have this experience with my clients, which is inconsistency. Now, some clients come to me very energetic to change, and they stay for 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions sometimes, and they stop. And you get to guess what? They come after 3 months, 5 months, they get back to where they were from the beginning. So if companies and leaders wants to really their people to be continuously on the top niche of their emotional intelligence, they need to remind themselves and they need to remind their people about it. For example, every day these days, I listen to motivational speech because world around us with these negative things is around all over the world. If we just leave things go as they are, we even forget ourselves. And we will be immersed on these events until we are really stuck on these oceans of bad news. And once we are there, I normally ask people to imagine when they come to me I told them that if you don't help yourself and get out of that, sometimes they have this jar which they bought for heat. I said, you are inside there. Yeah, you cannot think while you are there. Ask somebody to open a hole so that the pressure
let the pressure out.
Yeah, to get the pressure out a little bit, so that you could breathe. This is the essence of the thing that I think for the companies and for the leaders themselves, they need to really discipline themselves to continuously remind themselves about emotional intelligence. These emotional intelligence skills will not only elevate them, it will elevate the people around them, and it will elevate the outcome.
Especially in this tech world, so much is changing right now, and intelligent leaders truly will be leading the change, and the differentiator will be emotional intelligence. So we've talked a little bit about the self-awareness, but there's different aspects as well to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is so critical. Why is this assessment so important, and what the aspects of EQI?
What I love about this, that it covers the whole spectrum of the human being. It covers, first of all, the self-perception is how do we see ourselves in the depth, in the deep essence of ourselves. So it talks about self-regard. We know our strength and areas for development, and self-actualization. It's how we really thrive to improve ourselves. And emotional self-awareness, which I normally take it and explain it to my clients, is that comes into 4 levels. The first level is the emotions that you have. And the second level is, the triggers of those emotions that you have. The third level is, how the effect of these emotions on yourself. And the fourth is, how to handle this. So this is the self-perception. Now, the self-expression is to express yourself, either verbally or non-verbal. An emotional expression is to express yourself. Now, assertiveness is different than in this model. If you imagine a line from aggressiveness and passiveness, and you drew that line, in the middle of the line is the assertive. So you see, you express yourself, you express your values, your ethics, but you make sure that when you express these values and ethics, that expression does not harm you. So this is the assertive, to express things, but you need to make sure that you are not harming yourself or harming others. Independence, and when we talk about independence, we talk about independence because this is independent of the emotions. Because you are dependent on the emotions, you are really not making the right decision. Now we go to the third one, which is interpersonal relationship. This is how you build relationships and how you maintain these relationships and how do you strengthen these relationships, which is interpersonal relationship. And you cannot do these relationships until you practice this empathy. In addition to that, and this is the beauty of this model, is that how you contribute to your society. And this is the social responsibility. And you go to decision making. And the first thing for decision making is the problem solving. Okay. And this is the ability to find solutions to any problem that you face. And in order to find the solutions for those problems, you need to have the reality testing. You test everything around that problem. And in order to be able to see things from all sides, you need to use that great skill that we were talking about, to impulse control. And I just would like to share with you one quote from one of our religious scholars, which is Imam Ali. He said, your primary battlefield lies within yourself. If you conquer it, you shall conquer everything else. Otherwise, you will be powerless before any other struggle. Therefore, strive to prevail in this inner battle first.
It's just so beautiful and powerful.
To do all of this, you need to have that goal. There's one thing that I created. I said T2TT. I just remind myself, take 2 seconds to think before you act. I'm asking all those audience just to take 2 seconds before they act. That 2 seconds would give them that self-awareness that we are talking. And then we'll go to the fifth one, which is stress management. We talked about flexibility before, how flexible we are in the situations that when we go to another place, when we are in stressed place, we need to be flexible. This is what gives us the stress tolerance, so how much we really adapt with the stress. We know the stress. We don't let stress to take over. And this is the optimization. We look at the future as brightness. All of these 15 skills are really affected by our well-being. Also, our well-being are affected by them. It affects our performance as well, also so emotional and social functioning. And I normally, when anyone comes to me to take this assessment, I told him, don't take it while you are tired.
Don't do it with this. I agree.
Because if you do that, your status will affect the result.
And it's so true, and the reason we could share that is because we're both certified EQI practitioners. And so I just use that for one of my slide decks from Multi-Health Systems. It is a powerful tool. This is you. If you are wanting to understand your leadership potential, you're wanting to understand some of the derailers that may be holding you back, and you're like, I can't just figure this out. Like, reach out to Coach Ibrahim, reach out to myself, reach out to whoever you can, particularly for this EQI assessment. It is foundational to take you to the next level. Because as you've heard today, we're going to wrap up things here pretty quickly. The importance is to know yourself. Start in that self-discovery, learn how you're going through change, adaptability, all these pieces work together. And then ultimately, where are you going? Sustainable impact and legacy. So in summary, Coach Ibrahim, I can't believe we're already 45 minutes. I'm like, where did that go? What are some of your closing thoughts? Because there's so much goodness that you bring to the world and the change that you're making. What are some of your closing remarks for my audience, whether you're live, and thank you for being here live, or listening to this podcast when we put it up on all the major podcast platforms?
I love that also to wrap up with. And one thing that I was thinking about, as you said, people need to know themselves first. To know themselves, there are a lot of what is their really, what is their challenge, what's their pain. One of these assessments, the PQ, which will show us these saboteurs that are acting in our heads, that are creating the stress, the anxiety, the fear a lot of people take it nowadays with me, and they see that, first of all, people need to know themselves better. They should be vulnerable and go for help. At the first session, they are resistance. But as we go on, they open up. And you guess what? That will make a huge shift on how do they see themselves, how do they see the people around them, and the environment around them, and make it clear how do they grow, how do they help people to grow, and at the end, they will have their companies to profit and grow.
I love that. And how do people get a hold of you?
Either call me on my on WhatsApp or call me direct from my phone 05 or plus 966 50481 0675 or through an email Abu Khalil ABUKHALIL 2 @gmail.com. I know I'm in Nomi, I'm in LinkedIn, so they could give me from also in Mega.
Global Hub, yes.
So I'll be more than happy to have a chat with anybody who wants to chat. And I could offer 15, 20 minutes for anybody who wants to discuss their situations. And I will give it free for those audience who came to us tonight. And then time on for your host.
My big smile. This is the beauty of connections, everyone. Like, surround yourself by amazing people. Thanks to Arafath and the Mega Global Hub, a beautiful coaching community where we all come together and we're supporting and really empowering others so that you can be your best version, to lead with heart. Get out of your head. Get out of your head. Connect to your heart, to your head, to higher calling and consciousness. Learn how to be your best version. And it's that openness. Like today, what is one thing you've heard today that you can go and apply? That's the choice we have. Ibrahim talked about the importance of a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. You are not your old story. You're not what your parents thought you were or what you even think you are. There's so much possibility in who you are. So as you come to the Leadership Heart podcast, always take action. Listen openly and then take action from something in here. And then I'd love to hear from you. Put in the chat, in the podcast, give us a follow, because the Leadership Heart podcast truly is about inspiring others to be their best versions with clarity and confidence, and having the courage just to do something different today and to step into your power, especially in this AI technology-driven, beautiful world, that emotional intelligence is that differentiator. So learn about it. Come and join us. Reach out to Coach Ibrahim. Thank you so much, my friend. It has been my absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And I know there's so much more we can go and do again. I'm just going to put the outro and then I'll come and chat with you in just a moment. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time today. Thanks, Coach.